In reality, many of the cultural outlooks in our day and in New Testament times are vastly different, and we have to work very hard to overcome the obstacles they present to interpreting and applying New Testament theology. One of the most obvious examples of this kind of cultural discontinuity is the language that was used to write the New Testament. Relatively few followers of Christ today can read the New Testament in its original Greek. Beyond this, we have to consider first-century literary conventions and the influence of the Hebrew and Greek versions of the Old Testament used by New Testament authors. We must also overcome our ignorance of the political, economic, and broader social practices of the day. Only as we devote ourselves to these tasks will we be able to deal with the many cultural discontinuities between the New Testament and our day.
There's a wonderful saying in London. It's called "mind the gap." You hear that when you step off the underground subway and onto the platform, and there's a gap in between, and there's this warning that's constantly given: mind the gap, mind the gap. And that is an important idea to consider of why the importance of understanding the cultural context of the New Testament when we're interpreting and teaching and preaching the New Testament is that we need to mind the gap. There's a gap between then and now. There's a gap in the language that was used. There's a gap in how the social identities were created. There's a gap in how kinship was understood. There's a gap in almost every aspect of life 2,000 years ago and life today. And if we don't mind the gap, we will inevitably fill the gap with our own culture, with our own understanding of things, instead of listening to the text to see how the text now applies to our life. We actually do the reverse. We make our life the manner for understanding the text. We speak into the text instead of the text speaking to us. And so we will miss some things if we believe that the original message was inspired. Then we want to endeavor to mind the gap so we can listen to the Word of God, not so that we can impose our own social consideration.